Well, hey, you. Yeah, you. Thanks for tuning in. Aloha, you saucy mother father. Welcome in another episode of the Side Hustle Podcast. YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, X, all the streaming platforms, audio version, of course, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, all that stuff. And for your video viewing pleasure, myself, Kyle Cornell, AA Anthony Alfred with you. What's going on, buddy?
Saucy
Mother father. You saucy mother.
How about that? I'll tell you what.
Gotta get creative with the opens at this point.
I'll tell you what. I love it so far. Mid-June, boy, it's creeping. It's creeping. We're halfway through the year, and
it is P. Diddying outside right now. It is creeping.
What? I have nothing.
I have to get it all out because we have an announcement.
Operations Chagrin Falls.
Yeah. Whatever you do, don't let him touch you. He's like a wizard, Harry.
All right. We have a ton.
Yeah, we do.
We're going to quickly get out of this. We have a ton.
Well, we should probably tell everyone the good news first. Some people like to tease and wait till the end, but I kind of wanted to switch things up a little bit today because there's a caveat to this. So we appropriately named this podcast the Side Hustle Podcast.
Correct, yes.
Because...
Even though all you see is S-H...
Yeah.
D-E and Hus.
Hust. There's a podcast in there. And then LPV's down there. But nevertheless, we named it this because we have jobs, we have lives, we have things going on. And this was supposed to be kind of a fun thing for us to do where we can maybe get some people to listen, get some people to watch, and just talk about what we love, which is
and
wrestling.
it is fun.
Yeah,
it is fun.
You know what's
believe it or not.
You know what's even funner?
Sure, what?
The next slide you're about to pull up.
We can't take back these 2 minutes.
No, we can't, and it's going to get worse, trust me. Not this. This is cool. So, officially, starting next week, here on the Side Hustle Podcast, our very first official sponsor of the program, a presenting sponsor, BA Sweeties, here in the Cleveland, Ohio area. Want to thank Tom and company over there. Of course, we'll obviously have more things. We're going to be integrating a segment in as well. But the biggest thing to talk about this week when it comes to BA Sweeties is that next week, AA, I have to behave, which is going to be difficult.
Okay. Yeah. I just looked at Pete. Yeah, okay.
So I have to calibrate what I do. And that was the one thing we talked about, obviously, with this whole podcast, is that the ability to basically kind of do whatever I want.
True.
I've been handcuffed and chained for a while when it comes to my ability to speak my mind on airwaves.
Freely.
So, that being said, this is the last week that before we have any actual official sponsors. Of course, the paperwork is signed, but we're picking up stuff later in the week. That being said, I have a few things that I'd like to do.
Oh, boy.
So, these are normally the glasses that come on when I'm about to cut a promo. This entire podcast is about to be a promo, so this is going to be great.
Oh, boy.
Not done. I'm going to drink a beer on the podcast today because next week I have to be a responsible adult.
Yes, you do.
So we're going to do that. Also, we're bringing back out the Aloha hat because why not? So when I call you a saucy mother father, you know I mean it. Proceed.
I have nothing. That smells really good, by the way.
Yeah.
That smells really good.
It's pretty good.
What is?
That's the.
Oh,
that's
good.
You know these, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
I didn't bring.
I was
it up to
wondering
share.
the
Sorry.
flavor. I was wondering the flavor.
The flavor is red.
Okay. Yes. Okay. We have something special. For you, Kyle. We actually have something special for later in the show. And I guess the metric we have to measure kind of your language, I call it the Bret Hart thermometer.
Yeah.
We have a clip from Bret Hart.
Love it.
And that's going to be kind of the levels, perhaps, that Kyle, I guess myself too, and the occasion that he makes me upset. But how can you be upset, by the way, when you come here to BA Sweeties.
No, it's fantastic.
I kid you not. So we met with Tom last week, and again, we've both been going to BA Sweeties for a while. It's here in Cleveland. A couple of fascinating things that Tom told us. 20% of the clientele is from out of town. So
over 100 miles away.
Amazing. So if you're coming here to Cleveland for SummerSlam, if you're coming here for a sporting event, but especially SummerSlam, make a stop here at BA Sweeties.
It's a bucket list thing, even if you guys are only passing through one time, not planning on coming back to Cleveland. You go see the Rock Hall, you go see, some stuff downtown, maybe it's the pier, something like that. Maybe you go down East 4th Street and you stop at BA Sweeties. 100%.
Yeah, this is good stuff. They have a lot of stuff. There's a popcorn ball.
And don't worry, Tom, next week I won't be drinking beer in front of your sign.
No, don't do that. But the other cool thing, though, the ice cream's fantastic.
Oh, my God.
They
the popcorn.
Yeah.
The popcorn, dude. They make their own popcorn.
I got to show you something.
Talk
for a second.
He's going to walk off and get something. But now this is normally pretty reckless because he's leaving a guy with sunglasses on the inside, a hat, and a beer in his hand to talk on a podcast. It only works if you're stone cold. But
oops. I forgot it was still on the solo shot.
I'm more impressed you didn't trip over anything.
So, I'll come up to here we go. So, they got a popcorn ball. Popcorn ball, pretty sweet here. Different brands here, but it's been a minute since I had a popcorn ball.
That's not your mother's.
Like different flavors. There's like a pizza flavor. There's barbecue flavor. A ton of stuff.
So I cut mine in half, and I actually gave half it to my son. Then I ate the other half.
Yeah.
And I contemplated my diet pretty heavily for a few minutes there because I was like, man, this is really good.
Again, I almost want to just open this up right now and eat it. I know you don't want to see me eat, but
they're watching me drink. They can watch you eat.
I know it's different though. But
yeah,
come here. They have a ton of stuff though. Ton of different things. If you like classic Coca-Cola, classic Coca-Cola out of a bottle,
real cocaine.
They got it there. So anywho, next again, thank you to BA Sweeties.
There's no cocaine in the Coca-Cola.
No.
Kids.
But thank you to BA Sweeties. Mini golf, they have that as well. Gather with your friends, family.
Want to beat up on your 8-year-old who's talking crap to you? Take him to play mini golf. Show him his boss.
Don't do it online. Do it in person.
Nope, in person. Yep.
And mini golf. So should be a fun time. And again, thank you to Tom. Thank you to the entire staff over at BA Sweeties. We're going to get that partnership officially started next week. So you'll be seeing some stuff here on the podcast. In the full podcast as well as the clips about BA Sweeties.
Fun new segment we're going to be starting next week too involving them. So it's obviously great. Again, appreciate their support, and it's easy when it's a company like that, what they mean in this community. We're definitely happy to work with them.
Yeah. So thank you again. And last thing, none of this is possible.
Ooh, he's going to be all corny and sappy. Ooh.
None of this is possible without you guys. Thank you.
Oozing out of you, maple tree. Look at that.
I immediately moved on. Thank you guys for your support.
Oh, he dead. No, he dead now. Look at you.
So that's Braun Breaker, and then that's Ricochet. By the way, he's still the speed champion, I believe, on
He's
X.
not.
He is not?
He dropped the title.
He dropped the title.
To Andrade.
Oh, good.
So
well, Braun Breaker dropped him. And
on a car.
out of car. So if you haven't been keeping up with the news with Ricochet, his contract is up. Now, we don't know exactly, I guess, when the contract is up. We're hearing like maybe July is up, so it's possible he can come back for one more appearance or something. But he has basically, allegedly told according to multiple reports, told the big bosses at WWE that
fuck this
he
shit,
will
I'm
not,
out.
Yeah, that he will not sign a new deal with WWE, and Ricochet will be on his way to wherever he decides to go.
Couple suitors. Tony Khan deciding not to talk about anything again because that's what Tony does. I'd rather not talk about people that are under contract with different companies. You can talk about him. You just can't say, yeah, we're gonna go sign him right now. Like it's.
You can say like, oh, he's a great talent, and
Yeah, wish him the best.
wish him the best. We'll see what happens.
If things come up, we'll obviously probably have a conversation with him. But right now, he's still under contract with another company, so I can't do anything with him.
To be fair about Tony has proven to be so irresponsible. Honestly, that might have been the best thing Tony could say. That might have been the best.
That's the son of Tony Khan with a foot in his mouth, and that's what it is. Yeah, so there you go.
For Ricochet himself, though.
Size 6, because he's a little boy. Go ahead.
Boy, you're on it today.
I told you, full fucking show promo.
On it
this
today.
Is it. Nice week. I haven't wear to suit this thing because I have to be official.
It's like
we're making money with this thing now.
It's like a child who knows he's going to be on punishment after.
I want to say like Vanilla Ice showed up and just did the podcast. Is what I was looking for. But that's fine.
Oh,
like chunky Vanilla Ice showed up.
Yes.
Because he's ripped, so I'm not anywhere near that. Yeah, but yeah.
I think you could sum up Ricochet's time in WWE. If this is it, you could sum up his time as a elite high flyer, somebody who is great with the kids, somebody who's a good guy. He's a good guy. But there lays the problem. In WWE, there was always a ceiling with Ricochet. And we talked about this, Kyle, on the program, I think a couple weeks ago. He has never been able to really cut a promo at a WWE level with, like, main eventers and mid-card guy. Like, he's never really been able to cut a promo. And it's always seemed like his glass ceiling in WWE is pretty much where it's at now.
Yeah.
Where he's basically, trusted upon, but he's trusted upon to put over Braun Breaker. And at WWE, that's it.
He had a run, obviously, as U.S. champ, as IC champ. He had a title match against Brock Lesnar, which was bullshit. I mean, he's gotten some opportunities. He was over at NXT. But the problem is, like, you need variance in your character if you're not really there yet. And he was never fully given the chance to be a heel. I want to see, like, heel douchebag Ricochet because he looks better than half the roster, right?
True.
He's got, like, a 14-pack.
True.
He can do shit that no one else on that roster can do. Screams heel to me.
But can he be a high flyer and be a heel?
No, and he shouldn't because he can wrestle more than one way. He's actually very talented in the ring. It's not just, I can do all these crazy flips. They obviously capitalized on that a lot because he was a babyface. But the first thing I'm doing when I see that guy and I'm seeing tape on him is I'm putting his 2 feet on the fucking ground. He's not jumping. Because he can wrestle. He can chain wrestle. He can submit you. He can do all these things. And the way he looks too, good-looking fucking dude, early to mid-30s. Like, no, you're going to be an asshole. Like, Austin Theory's gimmick should have been his gimmick. Because Ricochet has that presence with the people. He can still do things without jumping off the top rope or over the ropes that will still make people go, oh, shit, okay.
But can he cut an effective promo
I don't know.
even as a heel?
I don't know. That's the whole point. I would have given him the opportunity because you never gave him a chance. If he's always this white meat, he's the best babyface. You said he's a good guy. Well, he doesn't look like the average person. We connect with people like Sami Zayn and even Cody to a standpoint because they kind of remind us of us a little bit, just how they are. Both cut pretty good promos too, but that's because that's their role. I think deep down he's a heel.
He's dating the hot girl too.
He's dating the hot announcer chick who's over as hell. People are jealous.
True.
Use it.
I wonder how many people. I mean, just watching the show. Braun Breaker clearly is the FU heel at this moment. But how many people actually like? I will admit the Rey Mysterio truck semi spot that was.
It hurt. Not the initial hit, but when he hit the ground.
Concrete.
Yeah, he went straight down on his head on the concrete.
Oh, yikes.
Oof.
Yikes.
My 30-year-old bones shook.
I wonder, I wonder how many people are really like, man, I feel bad for this Ricochet.
Nobody.
I didn't.
People are like, holy shit, Braun Breaker.
I know objectively we kind of know, what was happening, but even if you take yourself out of that,
It was more about Braun and less about Ricochet. Ricochet was the body to use.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's what I hope, honestly. I know he's going to go to AEW probably. He's going to do his flips with Will Ospreay, and they're going to have a full thing. But like, there's so much more to him, I feel, and I want to see the opportunity to be a full-fledged asshole. Because I feel like it's there. He has the cocky smirk. He has that stuff. The fact that they didn't see that is a little surprising, and I think it's just also because now, too, it's so far gone. And Triple H is now where he's at.
Yeah.
And he's been there so long. Ricochet's been there for like 6 years.
Yeah.
And it's been the same character. It almost feels like maybe you can't.
And I think Ricochet saw that.
But the problem is, like, he's not selling. He's not one of the top merch guys. It'd be one thing if it's like, oh, it's John Cena. He's number one in T-shirts. He sells out everything. We can't turn him. We can't. He's too over. The kids. Ricochet wasn't. He's a solid hand for you, but he wasn't that big of a draw.
Well, here's the thing.
So it's like,
Who is Ricochet? Ricochet's the guy, if you need to prop up a heel.
Yeah.
He's the guy. You need to prop up Logan Paul. You need to get Logan Paul over as a heel. Ricochet's that guy who's going to deliver a great match. He's going to carry you through a great match. He's that guy. You need to get Braun Breaker over. Ricochet's that dude. You get him over, great. But then you can take Ricochet off of television for 3 months.
And then wouldn't miss him.
And yeah, nobody would miss him.
But that's the part.
Oh, we need to promote the new Twitter show.
Yeah.
All right, boom. 3-minute matches, Ricochet's there.
Triple H tried. I think that was his attempt was to build speed really for him. Honestly. Quick matches, high energy, high pace, high octane, whatever you want to call it. And it's doing okay. I mean, it's its own thing. It's not like it's going to pull any numbers that are going to be like, holy shit.
Kyle, it's not doing anything. It didn't do anything.
It's on Twitter.
It didn't do anything.
What do you expect?
Because their dummy owner decided, hey, let's make the championship. You know, you can have the championship on all the shows. Oh, let's make the championship exclusive to Twitter. So that way our champion does not have that belt on any other show.
It should be on every show. Like, promote it.
It doesn't. Ricochet's on. Ricochet was on TV all this time. He can't have the Twitter championship.
He just gets a mention. Yeah, he gets a mention. Oh, he's our speed champion. Tune in on Wednesday at noon on Twitter because that's when everyone's watching stuff on X.
I mean, imagine. Right. Imagine you're fighting for a championship at whatever sport. We'll even say the Super Bowl. Imagine you're competing for the Super Bowl or the NBA Finals, NBA Championship, Larry O'Brien Trophy. You win the championship, and then they say, well, that championship, you can't mention the championship outside of your arena. Not even city. Say the Celtics win the championship. You can't mention the Celtics championship outside of the TD Garden building. You can't mention it.
Doesn't make any sense, does it?
See,
again, this is the thing. Like a lot of people like yell at me and point at me for like, oh, you just hate AEW. You're WWE does some stuff that's like, what's going on here with that too? Like it's still a little more controlled. They do speed better than AEW does TV, which is a problem, and that's saying a lot. But nevertheless,
better than AEW doing speed.
Oh God, that's what Rampage was and is. But nevertheless, I mean, this is what we're talking about.
Zingers in me too, Pete.
You've got zingers, I've got zingers.
That's so true. You got that.
Different vowel.
Let me just say this. In most cases, and we've talked about all the free agents, all the guys, and one of the problems WWE is running into, there are less some of these guys' contracts get like all the way to the end without closing the deal. Chad Gable, they're kind of on the, that's going to be locked in.
He already resigned.
But it's getting a little close. You don't want to make that a habit.
He wouldn't have a match at the Premium Live event overseas if he didn't resign his contract.
I understand. I'm just saying.
Some of it's kind of obvious. And
in the future, you don't want to make that. You don't want to make those kind of business operations a habit under Triple H. So this is something to watch.
It's also just a different mindset too. I don't need to re-sign everybody like 3 years before their contract's up. Like
I understand.
If it's a month or two,
wait for 3 days until the contract's up.
I guarantee you, he signed back a couple weeks ago, and they're just waiting. I mean, which makes a lot of sense because it keeps the intrigue. Okay, what if he doesn't win? Is he gone? Like, or if he does win, is he gonna pull like a Punk back in 2011 and like try and run out or what? Like, it adds a little more to it. And honestly, Triple H is so engraved in like other shit that he doesn't really care what people are saying in that situation. He just wants the story to be over and not like worry about all that other shit.
I'm just saying, don't make it a habit. You know, don't make it. If Triple H is doing this 20 years from now and he loses his fastball, you don't want that to be the norm of your business operations. You want to, if you're able to lock in as not as quick as, but as efficiently as possible, get those locked in. Obviously, if Ricochet is asking to be the fifth highest paid wrestler on the WWE roster, then you're like,
I just don't think he wants to be there.
He doesn't. And I was going to say this. Of all the guys and girls that we have covered as far as like free agents and, the contracts and stuff, obviously Becky's a free agent at this moment.
So to speak.
Right. And the others that we have covered throughout the year. We have mentioned that WWE, for the most part, for a lot of these wrestlers, is the best place to be, except Ricochet. I think Ricochet, you talked about him turning into that heel, having that heel opportunity. If he resigns to WWE, that's not happening.
I think if he was going to, that had to be like one of his conditions. Like, listen.
But he has to be confident in himself to do that.
He's got to bring it up because they're not going to do it because they want to keep him.
I don't see him bringing it up either. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, maybe he needs to see it. I don't know. It's obviously hard because we can't put ourselves in his shoes unless we just asked him.
Right.
And talk to him, which
well,
now if he's going to be
at the moment,
if he's going to be a free, well, yeah, he's looking a little incapacitated there. Maybe we give him a few days to recoup. But like, nevertheless, I mean, like, if we ever get a chance to get him on the show, I mean, that'd be something I want to talk to him about. Like, hey, you have like all the makings of a heel, of a bad guy. Like the whole I'm too short thing. I don't buy that shit. I don't. You still you're like Finn Balor. The dude looks like $1 million. Like, and you have the swagger, obviously, and you have the girl, and you have this, and it feels more like you should be top mid card, if not one of the main event heel players. But also the problem is, you brought this up last week, especially on Raw. There's not a lot of baby faces.
Correct.
So they kind of had to keep Ricochet in that role anyway, because one, who are you going to feed that guy to, and then two, what do we? There's nobody else. I mean,
for Ricochet, I mean, probably his best course of action, and it all depends too on Samantha too. But
she's staying.
No, well, I'm saying in terms of, have a conversation. Are you able to go to Japan? Kind of do some work there in Japan.
If he works with New Japan, he's going to work with AEW because they have their working relationship. So I mean, it doesn't really.
Honestly, probably for what Ricochet is looking for, AEW might be the best place.
I mean, the only place
for him.
He's going to have a price tag.
For cable television, AEW might be the best place. At one point, this I was told by people who followed like Real Ospreay and Ricochet way back in the Independence, way back when. Like, people were looking forward to Ricochet just as much, if not more. Him and Ospreay teamed up, and people were looking forward to watching Ricochet. Like, Ricochet was that big.
He was huge when they signed him in NXT. Like, it was huge. Like, he was. There's a reason why he was a North American champion. Why he was pushed near the top of the card. Like,
so if he doesn't want to cut promos, he doesn't have to at AEW. In AEW, all he has to do is be one of the top performers on pay-per-view.
He'll be the biggest he'll ever be now.
I understand.
If that's what he wants to do.
But that's the thing. At this point, it all feels like personal fulfillment. This is not about like his own status among what we believe, among with what you believe. Honestly, with him, I think it's personal fulfillment. He feels that he cannot move anywhere higher in WWE. He can't do anything more in WWE, but he'll have wrestling freedom in AEW. He'll have, honestly, creative freedom in AEW. For better or worse.
Yeah, we know Tony will let him do whatever he wants.
For better or worse, he will have creative freedom in AEW, and that's where I think that'll be the next course of action. Probably, if the contract aligns, for the All Out or All In, All Whatever pay-per-view in England.
Well, if his contract just expires, there is no waiting period.
Correct.
He's allowed to resign the next day
Mm-hmm.
or sign the next day with whoever he wants. If he's leaving early and not working any more dates and his contract still runs until August or whatever it is, well, then you're not going to see Ricochet for a minute. But,
Well, and we just saw the report right before we came on the air, that a report that he might work another date. Again, like you said, Kyle, no matter what, he is under WWE control. He's still a contracted wrestler. This felt like a Triple H decision to run this angle, get him off television right now.
Also, I think it's a little bit of good faith, too. People maybe laugh at that, but I mean, like, if he does really have aspirations to go somewhere else, like AEW, whatever it is, I think Triple H wants to make sure he's healthy.
Yeah.
Like, hey, okay, your contract's up in August, man. You really want out of here. I get that. We obviously want to keep you, but if we can't, we understand. I want to write you off TV. We're still going to pay you out the rest of your contract. So that way, when you go to your next place, you're healthy, you're good. You know, you can hit the ground running with them. You're not still, like, risking yourself every week here when you know you got a bigger contract coming up.
Vince would have ran him into the ground.
Oh, Vince would have.
Vince would have ran him into the ground.
You're going to get your ass beat by Braun Breaker every week until the week you leave.
Can I get your thoughts on one thing before we go to the next slide?
Sure. Is that Michelle McCool?
Yeah.
It is. And Eddie Guerrero.
And Eddie.
What a trailer. Anyway, go ahead.
Real glass.
See Punk in the background just like... No, I'm sure they did it professionally.
Real glass. Throwing off a trailer. Landing concrete. Now, he had his arm, but it snapped and still hit his head.
I'm going to need another beer.
Man. What's your thoughts on Braun Breaker again? Don't.
Well,
was that enough of a beatdown? I mean, now he had a competitive match earlier in the night.
The match of the Ilya was great.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, and I am happy with the response for Ilya. People are starting to get behind him a little bit. It's slow,
Yeah.
but it's happening. With most foreign stars, the good news is he can cut a great promo.
Yeah, that's
that's going to save his ass when it comes to, okay, we're going to try and push you a little bit. He'll be able to hit that. And he can go back and forth between, I can be your good guy or I can be an asshole, heel, whatever you need me to be, which is going to help with like Gunther and all that stuff. And if he decides to join Imperium at some point, that guy is just, you talked about it. He'll be in the main event of WrestleMania sooner rather than later. I mean, he's going to.
You are 100% right about that music, though. You're 100%
Oh, it's
right.
terrible. It's bad.
Is garbage.
Yeah, his old one was
garbage.
great. His old theme song
It
was
is
perfect.
garbage. I don't even care. I would like if there's one thing that we are willing to push, get him some killer music, please.
The high tempo, high pace thing.
Man,
His theme song in NXT was fantastic.
he is a bona fide stud, killer, and he's coming out to WCW worldwide music.
Copyright music. Oh, we're canceled. Oh no. Yeah.
Just my goodness.
My Fair Lady. It's okay. Don't worry. It's all scripted.
All right, now true.
That's the last time you'll hear me say that, but it's okay.
She ran backstage in heels.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know if you've ever seen a woman wear heels before, but they're pretty talented when they wear those.
I try not to.
Think about it.
I try not.
Because you don't like women.
Have anybody?
Because you hate women, right?
Try not to have anybody wear heels around me.
Yeah, right.
For particular reasons.
It's because you're so tall.
That's right.
Yeah. 6'10", this guy, and that's not including the hair.
Any shot at all that she's leaving with Ricochet? Any shot at all? I know you kind of answered the question. Is there any percentage?
Absolutely not. She is cemented in her role and what she does there. And the thing is, she's not a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
She's not an executive or anything like that. She is the pinnacle of what they need right now. And they will pay her more than any other ring announcer in the business to keep her. And also, again, like I said, the schedule is no longer an excuse because she's only working 2 to 3 days a week, 3 days usually max.
And Rhea Ripley and Buddy Murphy have made it work. No problem.
We saw Charlotte and Andrade do it. We've seen different couples do it. I think the one dude that's dating Gigi Dolan or whatever, or married her or whatever, he works in TNA. Now they can actually work together, which is interesting. But like it's because of the TNA WWE thing. But I mean, like, it's not foreign for that to happen. And because the schedules nowadays are so light compared to where they were before, you still see each other, 3, 4, 5 days a week sometimes, depending on, how your days are and how connected you are to what you do. Like, I mean, it's really not.
Can I make
that big
one
a deal.
comment about Justin Roberts? Can I make one comment? I used to think back in the day that he was a stud. Back in the day, I thought Justin Roberts was really, really, really good at what he did at WWE. Like, really good.
And then she came in.
I guess she's part of this, but when I hear Justin Roberts in AEW,
I twinge.
it screams to me mid. It screams to me because, he's allowed to. I can't put my finger on it, but his presentation seems corny to me.
Don't put your finger on him. He wouldn't like that. Don't touch him.
Will not. His presentation seems extremely corny to me.
Yeah, well.
Like, I guess it goes along with the show itself. But it's just...
Take it easy, Bret Hart.
I'm just like, the Orange Cassidy entrance, like his involvement with that.
Squeeze.
What happened, like Kenny Omega...
Oh, God.
Gave him full authority with his intro. And
he reads off like all the bullshit Dave gave him.
And
He's got 11 5-star matches, and no one gives a fuck. Featuring Bobby Moynihan and Kyle Mooney. Ooh.
Future Hall of Famer Kyle Looney.
Sounds like a stupid SNL intro.
Well, but it would be one thing, I guess, if... I don't know. It's just corny to me. I don't have any real analysis on it. It's just corny.
It's over the top.
It's very over the top,
yeah.
And it's not cool. And
we're not talking about her.
No.
She's great.
And Carlito would say the same thing.
That's cool.
He would say the same thing. I don't think she's leaving either.
No.
We don't know her contract situation. But
we don't have to.
But she, if AEW was smart, they would obviously, once her deal's close to being up, once Ricochet's over there, like, hey, what's the
tamper?
What's the deal? What's the deal with Samantha?
What's the deal?
And see what they could do.
He's gonna show up with a briefcase with the number 20 on it. Deal or no deal?
But they're really good. They're really good. I think she'll be in good shape. All right. I try to pull this off. I may not be able to here.
That's fine. We can just talk about it.
All right. So, on the top left, you got Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. They'll be in the world title match on Saturday. Drew McIntyre, I thought was presented as a babyface on Raw this week.
Yeah, well, they don't have any, so they have to do what they have to do.
As we talked about last week, they don't have hardly any baby faces on the show. There could be one viewing above me. It's Chad Gable and Otis. I got some thoughts on Otis here in just a bit, and you have thoughts on the entire program as well. Over at the bottom by my right shoulder, AJ Styles not retiring. His
not
famous
yet.
Mark Henry. He texted Mark Henry, by the way. It was like, are you proud? And Mark Henry was tearing up. That's cool, man. That's cool. But he's going to face off against Cody Rhodes in the I Quit match. And then behind Kyle, which might be for the best for families, that's Dominic Mysterio. And the legs that you see there is Liv Morgan.
Sorry, what?
Yes. Yeah. So, of these four, because you brought up this morning, in our prep yesterday, you brought up this Otis and Chad Gable, the best story in professional wrestling. And then I thought, well, maybe, honestly, McIntyre and Damian Priest right now is cooking. And then, as we're putting the show together, I'm like, wait a minute. You have a retirement angle, and you have cinema with Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio. You got Finn Balor pulling the hotel key after Carlito said, "Oh, that's cool," and then Finn Balor's like, "Not cool." And then later on, grabs the key. So of these four, right now, currently, what is the best story in professional wrestling right now? Best active story. And real quick before you answer, we say active. We did not include Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. We did not include the Bloodline at this moment. The Bloodline, they're simmering a little bit, but Roman Reigns, The Rock, and others, they're not on television at this moment. So we did not include those stories. So it's these four stories that are active. Kyle, which one do you believe at this moment is the best story in professional wrestling?
So it's tough because we've got peaks and valleys for all four. I like the callbacks in Gable and Otis. Otis literally just talked about like, hey, I lost all this shit. I lost Mandy. I lost this. I lost that.
I forgot about all that too. That was fantastic.
Long-term storytelling. They remember things. It's crazy. All of a sudden, someone else came in control, and all of a sudden, everyone's memory came back.
Rewarding your fans, rewarding your fans for sticking around.
Yeah,
the great shows do that.
Because some of that stuff was ridiculous. But like, he lost his original tag team partner. He was dating Mandy Rose at one point. Lost her to NXT, and like he basically said, "Yeah, Chad."
Fans.
Yeah. And Tino Sabatelli. And then, sorry, man, he had like a 14-pack too. And then Chad came out of the blue and saved him. And made him part of his team, made him the guy, brought him in his Alpha Academy after his own guy, Jason Jordan, got hurt and couldn't be able to wrestle
so glad
anymore.
that they wrote that into the story and Sammy brought that up because it was starting to get to the point, I think maybe thinking coming in like,
why is he not doing anything?
Yeah.
Like, why is he just taking it and taking it and taking it? And he feels like he owes his entire career now to that guy.
And it's different from what Sammy went through a little bit because Sammy, by himself, had a little bit of motives. Nothing bad, but he had reasons for joining the Bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
And he was sucked in, and then he was flushed out of the Bloodline, but it took a minute. This is a situation, like you said, Kyle, where Otis was left for dead.
So Sammy was kind of, too, after the Johnny Knoxville match at WrestleMania. I mean, when you get stuck in a fucking mousetrap on TV, it's kind of like, what are you doing now? So in a way, that kind of, he felt like he owed a lot to them, and he just snapped. And I imagine, come Saturday or relatively soon, we're going to see someone else snap. The problem is, who else is going to be there for Chad Gable?
We know who.
Yeah.
They've been playing the seeds for months
I'm
now.
so excited about that, too.
I cannot wait.
It's going to be great. That's the new team angle.
Yeah.
Because those guys are all actually, it fits a lot more than what they were doing with Alpha Academy. So I don't buy the whole Sammy's going to lead Otis and
Me neither.
I think he's going to be a friend, and he may even team with them a little bit, but he's not going to make a group or whatever. Sammy's doing his own thing.
Well, you know what? I do think, I will say this. I think short term, that might be the case.
Yeah.
Like short term might be because of what Gable might be building.
Soften the blow.
But it also depends too, like, do you roll with Gable and Otis as a one-on-one program right away, which I think would be the smart move.
It gives them another match they could book for SummerSlam without giving Gable the championship yet. There could be some shit that goes down for why he doesn't beat Sammy on Saturday that leads to the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile coming out, and we haven't even been on TV. Fuck these people, and they just stayed their turn full on.
Right.
Because they were in a tag team title match.
Yeah, they were.
And then all of a sudden, gone. Ivy Nile.
And they were hot.
Ivy Nile.
Like,
Yeah, she was getting matches against Becky and all that stuff, and all of a sudden, not on TV for a couple weeks. Unless she's talking to Maxine backstage. It's like, what the we're not getting presented well enough. Okay, we need to make a change. Like,
all of a sudden, you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to the interview side. And here's the thing. Where I'm penalized, I'm not complaining, but obviously, as we said last week, they don't put everything on the Hulu version of Raw. You got to actually go through the clips.
Yeah.
You got to actually, like, some of those backstage interviews, you got to pay attention.
Because shit's going on all around the place. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that being said, Drew and Damian is the best story in WWE right now. Because of the story that's behind it. You mentioned CM Punk. And right now, whether he's there or not, he's the top face on Raw. because Seth is obviously out for a while. We know Punk's close to being able to come back and wrestle here relatively soon. I think the overarching bigger story of him looming in the background compared to what they've been doing on their own too with their own work. And honestly, you could tie the Dom Liv story into this too because it's all Judgment Day related.
That's why.
So
you're right.
It's kind of like, hey, it's all like one big thing with different like branches on the
Right.
tree, right?
I'll say this for the purpose of this exercise. Let's split them apart. Let's split. They
fuck
are
your-
intertwined.
Fuck your exercise.
I said that the other day, dude. I was in pain. I was
I know
doing the bike and
The bike.
yeah, I was doing the bike. I put it on the fat burner thing and like the thing. Oh god,
Stairmaster.
I hate stairs.
Yeah, so do I, but
I hate
it's
stairs.
so do my knees.
I
But
wanna-
if you want to look like that,
I want to separate. I want to separate the overarching big story here for a second because I think it is important to dive into details and then bring it back out. I think it was interesting. First off, somebody in WWE listened to our show because I said last week, what's going on with Damian Priest? Why does he want help for the Judgment Day? And then they just dropped the storyline. Well, guess what they led with on Monday?
I don't need you. And I'm going to put that on the line to prove that I don't need these guys. And I know full well that Finn's probably going to lose to you, but that's fine because I don't need him anyway.
Amazing.
There you go.
Amazing.
It's the slow burn to eventually turning a face with Damian Priest. It will happen at some point.
I don't know
But-
who in Judgment Day, if we had a lot, maybe we'll do this next week. Put all the members of Judgment Day, including Rhea Ripley, up. Who's going to turn on who? Who's going to be the babyface? Who's going to be the heel? Who's going to do the turning?
We told
Who's
you.
going to be the operation? But I think we need to do it for every member. Because as we are seeing this develop, and we're seeing it even with the Liv and Dominic story, there are different... Oh, and Carlito. Sorry. Idiot. Carlito's in it too.
Still not an official member, but that's fine.
But he has a important role in the operations. They all
he's
do.
hanging out because he has nothing else to do on TV.
That is true.
and they
But
signed him to a contract.
he's,
So
he's the freeloader. But hey, he got influence down. But every individual member, even to a certain extent, JD McDonough, every individual member has an important piece of the direction of Raw going forward. Every piece. I think we need to examine next week who's going to be the babyface. When is the turn going to happen? Who's going to do the turning? And who's going to remain as a face? Who's going to be a heel? What's all going to happen with all these members?
I can answer it for you now, but for continuity purposes, I'll just wait.
We'll save that for next week. We'll do that. Real quick, the AJ stuff, pretty good. Really good stuff.
It's AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. I would expect nothing less at that point. They're
Well,
both.
that's the story, right?
Well, yeah, but I mean, you get basically, they'll figure it out. They're both pros. They've both been doing it forever. I mean, they took a spin on it, which is great, and it made sense because AJ really we didn't know what he was doing,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of felt like it's kind of the end. What's going on, man? And this whole TNA thing, I think that's huge for him.
Yeah.
I don't know if he ever really felt comfortable with how he closed that chapter of his career. So that's an opportunity to go back and fight someone like Moose or whatever it is, or, someone for a championship over there and make it feel really final. And then, yeah, whatever he decides to do next. I mean, AJ's close to retirement. He's 47 years old or whatever it is. Him and Randy are up there where it's like, oh, they both look great, but I'm sure if you asked them, they'd say
He's close to retirement, but is he retiring this Saturday?
no.
Maybe from WWE, maybe he's retiring. But yeah, I mean, as we kind of put the pieces together, the partnership with WWE and TNA, and
He'll still be under.
that flag bearer
He
is the greatest superstar to ever come out of TNA,
Yeah.
AJ Styles.
I mean, he signed a new contract, I want to say 1 or 2 years ago. So he's there for the foreseeable future as long as he wants to wrestle. And obviously with the crossover stuff, it's a nice little way to give him an out to where he can still have some stroke. He can still be in a main event somewhere. And WWE can kind of move him off to the side a little bit and have Cody obviously get another big win.
Let me mention one. So you said the best story is right now is McIntyre and Priest.
I think because of the different spokes that come off of that, there's not that much with Gable and and Otis. I mean, there's a little bit, but like with the Judgment Day one, it just feels like there's so much going on in that group that, and that's obviously because it involves the championship. It's the top one. I mean, it kind of feels like it's just a long domino trail that just makes everything else kind of come down and work the show. And the absence of Punk is one of the reasons why I want the ratings and stuff like that too are not where they need to be right now. But I mean, it's one of those things where you're just biding your time.
And we'll get to that momentarily. I want to say this real quick. I believe right now the best story is Otis and Gable.
There's not a wrong answer here. I mean, they're all really good.
I think just because of again the long term build up, and we finally got connected the dots.
Well,
with
Drew
Otis.
posted that picture on Twitter today about 10 years ago on the
Yeah,
day.
he did.
Well, it did yesterday,
And
being
he
the
was
12th.
and he
but
was
yeah.
one of the others.
He wasn't even the name on the list of released. He wasn't named in it.
Like what was it? Evan Bourne and Teddy Long.
I gotta look at that. Hold on.
I mean,
That was funny.
it was great. And
Brodus Clay, Evan Bourne, Teddy Long, Kurt Hawkins were the names in the WWE release, among other WWE
well,
superstars.
Brodus Clay turned out to be somebody.
On Fox News.
I mean, where is he at a Fox News prime time? He's turned. Don't we have an election coming up?
Yeah.
Uh,
Beavis is fighting Butthead for the role of the presidency.
you must be 82 to qualify. Let me say this about Otis. You know, this story has the potential to turn Otis into today's version of Dusty Rhodes.
Okay.
Has
No.
the potential.
No.
And now the key is going to be, does he? God damn it! Can I at least make the point?
No, because it's crazy.
Well, it could happen.
How?
Let me fucking explain.
You better fucking pull some rabbits out of your ass if you're gonna make that comment.
So, can he cut a promo?
No.
Is he a guy who's going to be able to draw a story out of the guy who he hates most? And here's the thing that made Dusty great. The facial expressions, right? Otis is telling this story right now with his facial reactions. Everything, like you have to read his face to really know what he's thinking. And you could tell based on his facial expressions, you could tell that he is going back and forth. What's the right thing to do? What's the wrong thing to do? Like, should I do this now? Or wait a minute, like I have ties here with Chad. He's done everything for me, but I have my brothers and sisters here. But I have Sammy. I got to take care of them. I see a guy who has the potential, common man, blue collar, could work hard, right? Can actually relate to somebody out there who might be built like him, who wants to be a professional wrestler, who wants to do this, who has the charisma to do it. But he needs the opportunity to shine. He will have that opportunity. He will have that opportunity once this turn happens. How is the turn going to happen? Will it be executed properly? And then going forward, if he's able to cut a few really, really good promos, we have not seen a Dusty, like a build, like somebody who's built like Dusty since Dusty. With all due respect to his sons, Cody ain't built like Dusty Rhodes. Cody is a well-formed, fine young man. And in a way, so is his 20-year-old older brother, Dustin. So this is going to be an opportunity for Otis to really, really... See, look at this. Look at the facial expression right there. Look at that. He's locked in. He's locked in, but he's conflicted. And we can show different shots. Watch his hands. Watch his entire body language. There's an opportunity here for Otis to perhaps morph into this generation's Dusty Rhodes.
Are you done?
I don't see how this could be refuted.
I have a lot of points, and I wanted to make sure you could finish it because the last thing I want you to do is get mad and start sweating again.
I wanted to finish the point before you just cut me off there.
What is our friend? I was trying to answer your questions because you were like answering them. You were like asking questions in a row, like 4 or 5. Our friend Stephen A. Smith over at First Take says blasphemous, right?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. That was
we
honestly.
We need to say that to him.
Hey, not gonna lie, Double A, that's top 5 worst takes of your career. That was rough. Now, here's the thing, though. This is the thing about your takes, right? So, everything you said about Otis, right?
Uh-huh.
Everything you said, from the promos, the facials, the way he's acting right now, all that stuff, his ability, you were right. The only part you fucked up was when you said he's going to be the next Dusty Rhodes. 1, not the same bodies. Dusty was never a power lifter. This guy's a power lifter. He's got the strength, all that stuff. Dusty, that wasn't his thing. 2, that guy, nowhere near as charismatic as Dusty Rhodes. When Dusty walked into a room, we know people like this. When they walk into a room, it's like, all right, well, I got to talk to him. That's Dusty. That's not Otis. Sorry. Plain and simple.
You don't think he could turn into
no, absolutely
that
not.
kind of a guy?
You want to know why as well?
Who could be, because he's been built. He's been built all this time. He's been built as this dummy. You know, that's booking. But that's gonna change. That's changing right now.
His Mandy run, he was both smarter. He like I wising the fuck up. I got this hot chick with me, all that stuff. Like, but no. Mm-mm. He'll be fed to Gable and the Creeds. When the time, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what's going to happen.
I don't think first off that's not the right move to go. I don't think he'll be fed.
Chad Gable should be one of the top heels in the company.
He could be a heel without winning. Heels don't need to win feuds.
You do when you're not built as a main event star. You have to be able to be presented as a main event level talent to compete with a lot of the Cody Rhodeses, the Damian Priest when he gets over and becomes a face. All these guys, the Ilias, the Bronze, whatever. When they eventually become faces.
How many times have we had Chad Gable as one of our step-up guys? Like, okay, Chad Gable's been given his platform. He's had an opportunity. Again, this is like, we're really...
He's getting there.
The difference between upper mid-card, and main eventer, this is what we're talking...
He's been a tag team guy.
But these are the conversations we're having, and that they're having backstage.
Listen, like I said, you hit the nail on the head with how Otis is, what he's doing. But to call him... the next Dusty Rhodes, or say he has Dusty Rhodes in him. Maybe
who else has? I understand the difference with the powerlifting, and the build, but who else in the last 30 years?
Nobody, and that's fine.
But we
as a society,
I
gotta stop you. We as a society,
the closest to that.
We look for comparisons to everybody. Who's going to be the next Jordan? Who's going to be the next LeBron? Who's going to be the next this guy, that guy? Let him be himself. Let's see what the fuck happens.
He could be himself, but I'm telling you,
he's not Dusty Rhodes. He's nowhere near Dusty Rhodes.
He
will never draw like Dusty Rhodes. He will never be over as much as Dusty is, and he won't be talked about 30 years from now. What are we going to say in 30 years? Who's going to be the next Otis? No, it's fucking stupid. It's not going to happen.
But he has the personality. And the draw and the
why? Because he shakes and does the worm. That's not personality.
But that's how he's booked. You can't if that's how
he
wants
booked, to go.
If that's how he's booked, then that's what it is.
That's what it's going to be. I don't know what you're expecting.
It's not. Then what the hell is the point of doing this feud in the first place?
To have a story for Chad.
You can have a story with Chad with any of these fuckers that's on the screen right now.
Not the guy
What's the whole point?
He's with him for 3 years.
Why do a breakup angle in the first place where the babyface is not going to be over in terms of the breakup? You don't do a breakup angle and the bad guy gets over. No, the bad guy loses.
Not this time.
The bad guy loses every time.
Not this time.
And if the bad guy is good enough, if the bad guy is good enough to move up the card, he could take an L in this feud with Otis. He could take an L and still move up. Why? Because he has the chops on the microphone. Because he has the backup that he's been recruiting. The story is great. The story is fantastic. But the whole point is for Otis to overcome all the trauma that he's gone through, to overcome somebody basically call him out of his name, and, hey, somebody like me, in terms of Otis, somebody like him can succeed in professional wrestling, can go in there and do this. It can be taken seriously in the process, not be a goof the way he's been presented before by booking.
Hey, so remember the last time Double A got really like heated and like upset with me, and then the following week he came back and apologized because he was dead wrong. In 6 months, when Chad Gable is either Intercontinental Champion or over as hell and in the main event, and Otis is somewhere in the lower mid card with Maxine goofing around, I want another fucking apology.
The Chad Gable part has nothing to do with this.
That's the story you're bitching about right now.
That's not. That's not. No, it's
He
not.
will not be anywhere. In 6 months, Otis will not even be on the card. He will be a comedy segment in the back with Tozawa.
I completely disagree. There's no.
You can disagree as much as you want. It's what's going to happen.
That's not what's going to happen.
He's going to turn on. He's going to turn on Chad. They're going to have a feud that leads to a match at SummerSlam, and then that's when Chad's going to have the Creeds in his corner, and Otis is going to lose because they're trying to build a main event heel, not a main event face. They have enough of those guys at the top of the face. They want more guys like Chad as the heel to try and foil more guys like Cody and CM Punk and those guys. No one wants to. Nobody wants to see CM Punk versus Otis.
So
everybody wants to see CM Punk versus Chad Gable.
Let me get this straight.
Just saying.
So Monday Night Raw is lacking in baby faces, right?
For now.
They're lacking in baby faces.
You're forgetting in 6 months when Seth and Punk and these guys come back, they're going to have faces
We're not
again.
just talking about baby like lowest ratings since January.
You think Otis is going to draw the ratings? You think Otis is the guy?
They need somebody. They need additional bodies.
They need time. That's what they need. They need time to get these guys back.
You don't. It's not just time, though.
It literally is. That's what they're injured. I mean, it's literally what it is.
So they're limited in baby faces, especially on Raw. They're limited in baby faces.
Yeah.
So the solution is to not put over a guy who could be at least a mid-card baby face for
He'll
him.
be over until SummerSlam, and that's when he'll lose and he'll fall back down. It's the story they're building. It's fine.
I think
not everything's got to be this crazy thing that shifts all the momentum.
It's not a crazy thing, Kyle. It's logic. It's logic and things that make sense. You don't do a 4-year breakup angle. You don't bring up all the stuff with Otis and the things that's happened in the past just for him to be batted on the backside and sent down to WWE superstars. That makes no effing sense.
He's getting a singles match at SummerSlam against Gable. That's pretty good for a marquee for
Otis.
Okay,
and then Otis should win that match. Chad's gonna get over regardless.
Maybe. You don't know that. He hasn't got over yet. He needs the platform more than Otis does. Chad Gable has significantly more talent. And it's not because of his size. He just as a competitor and as a talent in the ring and as a talent on the mic and all this stuff. He has more talent than Otis does. Babyface heel doesn't matter.
Two things can be true.
Otis got more over because of Chad Gable and their group. Because of the thank you and the bullshit and giving him the platform and all of that. That's the only reason why Otis is on TV right now.
So two things can be true here. Chad can get over. It's the whole point. Chad's doing a great job. Again, this is nothing to take, from my standpoint, take it away from Chad.
No, his high rate is nothing against Chad. He's more upset with me because I think he's full of shit.
No, I think you're completely misreading the purpose of this feud.
I think you think every single feud has to end with the babyface winning, and it does
not. I did not say that.
You literally did.
I did not say that.
You said the bad guy's not supposed to win ever.
I didn't say ever. Okay. I say at some point.
Roll it back.
I say we can roll it back. That's fine. I said at some point, you don't do a breakup angle like this. Like you might as well write for AEW if you think that the entire point of this angle is just for Chad to get over. Like you don't. Then
he's gonna get his time.
They could have picked another guy.
They couldn't because of the relationship between the two.
They could have had Chad face somebody else.
No.
And got Chad could have wrote Ricochet off of television.
No, because that's Braun's spot. Now you're trying to cross shit over and try to make things make sense.
Then what's the point of this fucking feud in the first place?
To get Chad over.
That's why. To get both of them over at the same time.
Good luck. He's not going anywhere. What? Okay, so what's the end goal for Otis then? He's fighting for a mid-card championship, maybe? Chad's a main eventer. He needs to be in the main event. This is a chance for him to get over with a good story, with good storytelling, and fuck your finish. He's going to get to where he needs to go. Because that's the guy they want to invest in, not Otis. Again, 6 months from now, you're going to look at me and say, fuck you, Kyle.
This is insane. I completely disagree, if you couldn't tell.
I had no idea.
If you couldn't tell. I just... That logic of storytelling...
What's the payoff for
makes
Otis
no
to win this
sense.
story? What's the payoff? What comes next for him? Realistically.
For him to stand on his own 2 feet.
So it's
for
just about
him
him
to
being a
be able
man? So it's about him being a man, right? And stepping up to Chad. Not about beating him, just standing up for himself. That's the whole point of his story, is to stand up for himself.
Well, if you've been smacked around, the whole point is to beat him, and then and in the process, learn how to stand up for himself. That's what they're doing right now.
Even if Otis wins that match at SummerSlam, I'm guessing is probably when that's going to be. There's nothing for him next. He's not fighting for the World Heavyweight Championship. He's not drawing
tickets.
tickets.
To fight for the world title, but you need more baby faces.
He can be a baby
programming.
face. He can do whatever. Yeah, he can be a baby face. That's great.
No, you need legitimate baby faces in WWE programming. They need that. Like we talked about, like there's nobody to root for right now at this moment that's really active other than really Sami Zayn. That's on Raw.
Even Jay's not on TV anymore.
And,
they're waiting until Money in
and
the
they're
Bank,
waiting until
after the pay-per-view.
And
they're
going to do the qualifying matches next week.
Oh, is it? They're not even.
They're doing the qualifying matches.
He announced he was going for it, and then they're going to make him qualify.
I think so. Yeah, I think they'll do that.
Oh shit! Well, you could cheer for Uncle Howdy when he debuts next week. There you go.
Yeah, we got that. We'll see where that goes.
I'm excited.
You can't wait to react to that next week.
Oh man, it's going to be either like the awesomest thing, or I'm going to be pissed.
I'm not overly concerned about this.
No.
It's again, this is one of those. First of all, I think they went up against the Stanley Cup. But what fight? We're not going to use the same because of the fight. We're not going to use that excuse.
It's double standard if we compare that with AEW.
We're not going to use that excuse. The thing is, I will admit, sometimes even as hot as the shows are right now, and even with like heated debates about where to go, and I'll be honest, like this pay-per-view coming up. I mean, we're not going to do like a full-fledged breakdown of the pay-per-view preview, but like
it feels like filler.
It feels like filler, but if you really go through the matches, it's not clear and obvious through every match, like who's going to win.
There's a couple where you're like, maybe it could be that or that.
Like, I'm not even sure with the Priest and McIntyre match. I don't know if the right call is to get McIntyre to W and then Punk jumps in, or if Priest keeps the title because of the Judgment Day thing.
And that's tough because Gunther's not on TV right now, too, and that's who's waiting for the winner.
Uh-huh.
So if it's Gunther versus the champ at SummerSlam, you probably prefer that to be Priest, just because Gunther's probably going to win.
Right.
So, and you don't want
But
McIntyre,
then will Priest be a baby face at that point, or they're going to go through the Judgment Day breakup?
I mean, they kind of have to,
There's
right?
a ton of things. So,
yeah.
You're going to hear people who are very anti-WWE bring this up, that this did happen. The 18 to 49, I believe, was a 0.5 rating,
which is still higher than any Dynamite we've seen. But I mean, whatever. I mean, this is.
Now, again, I do want to bring up one question, though. Sure. I do want to bring up one question.
By the way, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you mad. I told you, you're exactly right about all the stuff you said about Otis.
This is a TV show.
When you yelled twice. One time, usually I feel like, okay, I got to him. The second time, like, I don't want to hurt your feelings,
It's a television show.
Because I love you, like a little teddy bear.
Stop it.
Pete, you gonna give him a hug really quick? No, he's texting. He's not going to.
I'm going to talk to Bret Hart.
Okay, yeah, he can soothe your soul. There
talk
you go.
to Bret Hart.
I told you today's going to be a promo.
I am not the biggest Bret Hart fan.
With a tear in your eye.
I'm just not. I'm not the biggest Bret Hart fan. But what we're going to play for you later on the show.
I'm excited. You thought I'm stupid.
You thought what just happened a few minutes ago. Bret said all that, but
he never raised his voice.
He didn't raise his voice.
No. Monotone Bret Hart was very
cutthroat. So Bret Hart, what did you think about Goldberg? Ooh.
Oh.
By the way, that WCW documentary, we'll talk about it.
Give me 45 minutes of your time, and I'll tell you what I think of Goldberg.
Man. Nothing. They need. The stars will come back or coming back.
It'll help.
But what's the status of Punk?
Yeah.
What's the status? Honestly, if Rhea Ripley, we heard reports that Rhea may not be ready to wrestle at SummerSlam.
Which, you know what, at that point, I mean, this is why you had people like Lyra and that stuff built up, too, in case that doesn't happen. You still have people that make sense to go after Liv. You took out Becky, all this stuff, whatever. They still have that there. I mean, when you're missing Rollins, Punk, Rhea, Becky, and it's good writing, it's going to reflect in the ratings.
no matter what, the show, all of WWE was at such a peak from January, I guess from that low point, before the Royal Rumble.
It was a slow tick up. Like the
to
Raw before
WrestleMania.
Yeah, the Raw before, I think the Raw after WrestleMania was the high point.
They were at a high point as far as everyone being there.
Mm-hmm.
They were at a high point creatively.
Yep.
It was the entire build-up. It was a year-long build-up with Triple H and the whole nine.
Yeah.
So
Cody,
it was a natural cool-down period. And honestly, excuse me, compared to years past, that cool-down, that WrestleMania cool-down would have happened immediately after WrestleMania.
Right.
But when you have international pay-per-views, that kind of put that spark back into it. But at some point, it was going to happen, and we're there now.
You talked about this from the beginning when we were doing the show, like way back in January, February. Yeah, that midsummer kind of lull.
Mm-hmm.
After Money in the Bank,
Yeah.
when SummerSlam starts to roll towards, that's when shit starts to pick up again. That's when you'll see numbers kind of increase. That's when you'll see some people coming back.
Yeah.
And being healthy and being on the card. And that's going to matter, too. If I can write CM Punk in a story and he's going to be there every week, I mean, that's going to draw a little bit more people.
And there are things on the table for our show that we have held back for when the time is right. One of them is Roman Reigns. One of them is, I mean, we briefly talked about it, but we're going to really dive into it in the weeks ahead. But the fans are ready for Roman Reigns and are ready for his version of the bloodline.
He's like sitting back just going like, yep, keep doing it. I'm going to keep your ass waiting. Just keep doing it. I'm gonna hang out.
Roman may not even show up until SummerSlam itself.
And even then, he may not, he could just wait until Survivor Series. And there would be no...
Do you think... Let me ask you this before...
How many more members of the Bloodline debut before Roman comes?
Right. Let me ask you this before we move on. It seems to me like it would be a slam dunk to have Roman wrestle at SummerSlam. But could they get away with Cody Rhodes defending his world championship against, we'll say right now, Solo? We'll say a member of the Bloodline.
I think because we don't know who's next after AJ.
Right.
I don't know.
That was the problem. That's why the AJ story is impressive, because they've been kind of building with AJ, but that kind of came out of thin air. But what is next?
I don't. You would think maybe the Bloodline be someone we look at. I mean, there's still the Randy story there. Randy hasn't done shit since the Gunther match at King of the Ring. It's only been like a week or two, whatever. But I mean, there's that looming, and that feels like a big match.
Yeah.
That maybe isn't worth WrestleMania, but is worth one of the big 4 or 5, whatever you want to call them now. So
even a crowd jewel coming up too.
Yeah, I think the Randy match makes sense the most, and that can somehow still feed into if you need Bloodline shenanigans, whatever it is. But I don't think that Solo's on that level yet as far as the leader of this new group. Unless that's their plan, is to debut Jacob Fatu and he's the new tribal chief. And they push his ass literally to the moon. Like Cameron Grimes to the moon type shit.
Yeah.
Where he's just like, hey, Solo's been taking orders from me the entire time. Fuck you. But Paul already called Solo the tribal chief right now. He basically said he's in command. He's the head of the table
until
while Roman's out.
Comes back.
And Solo gave him a side eye. But I mean, that's going to be great when it happens.
I will say this.
Or is there some sort of... If you don't have a person for Cody, do they do some sort of triple threat? Where it's like Cody, Randy, and KO versus the Bloodline. And that's where they debut Jacob Fatu. And that's when Roman comes back. And it's like, oh, shit. You want him to defend the title, but at the same point, it's
I'll put it to you this way: when you bring the match up at this moment right now, I'm not really excited for it. But
Randy and Cody,
the 6-man tag that you brought up.
I mean it's a way out. I don't know.
But there is potential for that to cook on the build, on the way, build that speculation. If all that can happen, I mean, look, just because I'm not excited for it on June 12th or June 13th, whatever today is, doesn't mean that on July 13th they won't start.
I think Money in the Bank is going to be bigger for the Bloodline as far as what's next for them, with championship goals. I'd imagine Solo probably will be in, or at least will try to qualify for it.
Well, will Jey Uso be involved with the story? I know different brands, but if Jey Uso's your Money in the Bank winner,
maybe.
But that could be separate too. Who
that
knows?
could be how the
But
bloodline
right
gets
now,
involved with him
we're
too.
also
Yeah.
seeing too that Raw Championship scene is about to be very, very full.
And then when Seth comes back around, probably that's Survivor Series
Yeah.
somewhere in there with his knee injury and all that stuff. Maybe he comes back sooner. I don't know. But like another guy that I'm sure is going to want to crack.
Like it would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if one of the Raw guys is traded to SmackDown because that that picture is full right now.
So Roman is the free agent. Remember, he took himself out of the draft.
Right.
So he could show up.
Yeah, he can.
You know, let's say Solo wins Money in the Bank. Reigns could show up the Monday after with the bloodlines there, right? Because Solo can cash in on either champion, or he could show up on the Friday, whatever it is. But that could be a thing. I mean, there's so many avenues to that. It just depends on when they want Roman back and what makes the most sense for the overarching story. Because there's going to be a lot more people that get drawn into it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for it.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. I wanted to bring this up. All right, we'll go a little bit more lighthearted here. So, one of my all-time favorite shows is Bar Rescue. And I had to ask Kyle off grid, like, do you watch the show? So we can actually run with this topic.
I've watched it.
So, you know this guy. This is John Taffer. He's
talking about AEW there? What is he talking about?
Might be talking about WCW.
Well,
I think he's working at Bret Hart's.
Worked a while ago. Good job, John.
So, the show's been on the air forever.
Oh yeah,
and it's a great show. But this year they launched a new season 9, and he's only appeared to like half the episodes. And you know, people are like, is he sick? And you know, we're not a Bar Rescue podcast, but there's a reason why we're bringing this up. So John Taffer is almost 70, which is nuts. He doesn't look
all the stress he deals with. You think?
Yeah. You're yelling at these people and everything. It's just crazy. Like, imagine if I was arguing for Otis for 24/7. Like that would be John Taffer.
You need liposuction or some sort of surgery to get the face. Yeah, just pull some shit out, like stretch it. Yeah.
I just thought about something real quick. I'm wearing this Browns polo. That brought me back to like those Browns Mondays after like their losses, and like talk radio.
I felt nothing.
Callers. I want Stefanski fired.
2-time coach of the year. You want fired? Good call.
Why do you want him fired? They need to run Nick Chubb more.
Until he blows out his entire left leg.
That's right. So, I want this show to continue only if they have the right host.
I know a guy.
I know one too.
But mine's different than yours now.
Well, who's yours?
Otis. Get in there, you big son bitch. He's an everyday kind of man. He'll walk in wearing polka dots. He'll do the full thing because he's the next Dusty Rhodes.
Hey, Chad Gable can be the assistant, the help.
Oh, now they're gonna flip roles.
He'll be the Phil Wills. He'll walk in there like, your bar sucks, but it wouldn't be as authoritative as John Taffer. Like John Taffer's the guy. All right. The real successor.
On a serious note.
The real successor to this show, because this show does need to continue. I don't think you need a certified bartender.
What?
I don't think you need a certified bartender.
What?
To run this show.
What?
I think you still have your assistants.
What?
But you have this man. It's the new host of Bar Rescue. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
On top of the table, just pound a few beers. What? Just on X. What?
Bad
on the
owner.
Las Vegas local text page. Just fucking pounding them back, slapping them together.
Happened last year.
Those are glasses, by the way. Those are not aluminum can beers, Steve. You're gonna hurt someone. Please put those down.
Stone Cold. Can you imagine Stone Cold telling somebody, "We're gonna shut this bitch down"?
Look me in the eyes. Are you dumb as fuck?
What? Why is your place failing? What? Stone Cold Steve Austin. my successor to John Taffer in Bar Rescue.
He's got the name.
I think he'll do a great job.
Just give him John's staff.
Give him the staff.
Let him host.
And yeah. It's like his food, criticizing the food.
Spike TV will never be more popular than
talking down to those ignorant bar owners who don't know any better.
Have you looked at your books recently? I don't know. What?
I said, son, as you look at your books.
Well, I tried. What?
Well, get down there, son. Since I went on a campaign for Otis, we're cutting this segment short. All right. We're going to play the video in a second. The video.
What a picture.
What a picture.
One guy looks really happy to be there, and one guy is Goldberg. Oh.
Let's play the clip now. This is courtesy of Vice TV. They have a new documentary, Who Killed WCW, produced by The Rock and his ex-wife / business partner, Garcia. I forgot
Danny
her.
Garcia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's actually well done. It's very hard to put stuff like this together.
It's Dark Side of the Ring. They've been doing it for like 5 or 6 seasons now.
Yeah.
It's all really good stuff.
The WCW story's been told millions and millions of times. So it's like, how can you find something new? And The Rock, to his credit, they've been able to get more people involved in the documentary.
So would you say that Bret Hart did it for The Rock? He did it for the people?
For the people. I did it for the people. All right, let's play it. One real quick to set this up. After this week, we can't be doing no cursing no more. Like we can't be going hard in the paint like that. Because again, stuff.
Yeah.
That we're excited about.
So watch your fucking mouth, double A.
This clip will be the measuring stick of how far we can go. Let's roll it right now.
I was a very good witness to the madness that was WCW. I've got lots to say about it. What a bunch of idiots, imbeciles, stupid as it gets. Stupid, clueless idiot, a bunch of clueless nuts. Is there anybody here that's got any brains? Stupid, stupid, stupid every day, every night. So stupid. Just really stupid. The biggest cutthroat bunch of conniving, backstabbing idiots you've ever seen in your life. That is such bullshit. It's the work of an idiot. Pathetic, really stupid idiots. Are you an idiot? Lost idiot? He was the shits. You will always be seen as a complete failure. The term motherfuckers would have been crossing my mind pretty regular. Thanks for nothing. Go fuck yourselves. You are a disgrace.
Honestly,
Courtesy of Vice TV.
I think Bret Hart heard that we need a replacement for Bar Rescue, and he's like, I'm going to go in a real pink bar and make my case for why I should be on Spike TV now.
God.
Holy shit.
So, Brett, what do you have to say nice about WCW?
Idiots. Motherfuckers come to mind.
I mean, look at him.
He was so defeated right there.
He was facing Bill Goldberg.
Yeah, he was getting his head kicked in.
Yeah.
Concussion.
Goldberg's like, kick. Brett, like, what? What? Like,
what?
And then he just did a kick, and then he was concussed. And Goldberg's like, well, you should have saw it coming.
Goldberg's going to come out like 10 years from now and finally bury Bret Hart. I heard him call me a bootleg Stone Cold backstage, so I kicked him in the fucking head.
You know what's amazing? I'm not sure if you've seen this documentary to this point. They're 2 episodes in. What's amazing about this documentary so far, from all the people they've had on the show, they've had former Turner Network executives, Kevin Sullivan's on the show, Eric Bischoff's on the show, Kevin Nash is on the show. Next week, they're going to have Vince Russo on the show.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
And this is the amazing thing. All of these people said it was somebody else's fault that WCW went down the tubes.
Usually means it's all their fault.
Except Bret Hart. Bret Hart literally came in there and said they all suck. I love the tweet that we had up there, the Public Enemies podcast.
Hater of the year, every year.
Yeah,
No, he just tells the truth and doesn't give a fuck because it's Bret Hart.
I will admit it, for Bret Hart, the career that he had, it did not deserve to end that way.
Well, Bill did. So he even said, like, I don't blame Bill for hurting me. He never trained. He came into this scenario and was put over immediately, and then it was too far, too gone. Like, so he's like, I just wish there would have been more leadership there that would have steered him better. And, like, I mean, I don't think he likes Bill personally anyway.
No.
Which, whatever,
Not
that's
even
fine.
close.
You could not like somebody and work with them. It's fine.
I think Bret hates him.
Which is, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Brett's also, like, very spiteful. Like,
Yeah.
he's, look at the Shawn Michaels thing. I mean, that took 15, 16 years before he even was willing to be in the same building as him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, it's, and talk about his career tonight and the way it was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to be a main event guy in WCW. He was supposed to be the one that helped carry them past 2000.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen that way because of all that stuff. And obviously, it led to more physical issues for him, and it never got to where it needed to be. He had that little run in WWE in the 2010s, early 2010s, with Shawn and Vince.
It was basically the.
It was a make good.
Yeah,
it was like
a
here,
make good run.
but I mean, like, it never was the same. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of hate in Bret, but I mean,
we have said it. Yeah, and again, me personally, I'm not the biggest Bret Hart fan. But I respect his work, obviously, and what he has meant to this business. But he got a raw deal, no pun intended, in WCW. Even from the jump, like the Starrcade main event with Hogan and Sting. Oh, let's just rerun the screw job finish. But the ref doesn't know that he's supposed to do a fast count, but you go in there, jump in, and do that. And then you're gonna lead Thunder. Oh, yeah, that money match for Hulk Hogan never happened. Never happened.
I wasn't going to lay it down for him, brother.
The best part of the documentary, best part about Hogan and Sting, real quick. So they built this story for 18 months. The Sting was going to be a new character. It was actually Scott Hall's idea for him to become the Crow Sting. 18 months. NWO is going to dominate. Only for Sting, the franchise of WCW, to come down the rafters and end the NWO. The day of Starrcade '97, the day of, Kyle, Hogan and Bischoff, they see Sting. They look at Sting. He doesn't look as excited, quote unquote, for the opportunity to win the world championship, to conquer the story. Hogan goes into Bischoff's office and says, they looked at each other and said, Hogan put in his creative control. He's like, not today, brother. Not today, brother. And they, from the morning that they showed up for the pay-per-view in their offices to that night, they had to rework the entire match and the finish because Hogan and Bischoff both believed that Sting, after 18 months, was not ready for the strap.
Okay. Well, again, you're just pointing out why they failed, but I mean, yeah.
And that's the start of everything, right? Because, and this is why we get frustrated with AEW, as we say every week. It's not, yeah, WCW had great success in '98. But when you build bad habits and when you lose and Bischoff said it perfectly, when you lose momentum, it's harder to get it back than to have it in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And people will say, well, isn't that what happened to WWE? Not necessarily, because the show was still good, for the most part. There's always things we could pick on every show, on any promotion. It's like, it kind of wasn't that good. But their overall trajectory of the company is still that way. AEW was here at first couple of years. A lot of goodwill, a lot of like, hey, we're going to see how this works out. But now after 5 years, we're here, and now you're starting to see this. And even guys like MJF and these guys will not be able to save them because it's not a talent problem. It's a booker problem. It's a promoter problem. It's the person who's in charge of the show who's not really in charge.
Yeah. Now, the one advantage AEW has over WCW, AEW is its own company.
They're privately owned.
Yeah.
So, like I said, people that say like, oh yeah, they're going to go out of business because they're going to run out of money or they're not going to be able to get. Tony Khan will always fund this. As long as he wants to be there, AEW will always be present. How profitable they are and how they are perceived on TV, different story, but as long as he wants it, they're always going to be around.
Again, if you're a fan of the history of pro wrestling, this is a great documentary, like Kyle was saying before, produced by, The Rock, and the whole team at Dark Side of the Ring.
Really good. They do a lot of good stuff. Check it all out. It's really good.
Fantastic. All right, who needs to step up?
You want to go first?
Otis, you could go.
You know what? I'm going to agree with you this week. You've talked this guy up more than he has in his first 10 years in the company, so I'm gonna go with you and say that Otis needs to step the fuck up because, buddy, now the pressure's on. This guy is a superstar. Okay, he said you. One shot on me, Pete. He said you, Otis. You are the next Dusty Rhodes. If you let this man down,
TikTok will.
You don't want to know what's
hear
going to
all
happen.
about it.
You don't want to know what's going to happen, man. It is all on you.
Get it done.
This coming weekend,
Get it done.
Clash at
Don't
the
make
Castle.
me look stupid. Get
Don't-
it done.
You don't want to see him when he's angry. You only got a piece.
Man.
And there's an invisible wall between us, so he couldn't hit me, but it's here.
Man.
Like, you got to be careful. Because he may be small, but you know what they say.
Pack a punch. Otis.
Sure.
For the first time, both of us picked the same guy. All right, so
It was too good not to.
why not? Why not? All right, couple things before we wrap here.
Yeah.
As we mentioned before, BA Sweeties, that's the address. Check them out.
This is water now, so we're good.
Yeah,
I had my one beer. I know my limits, unlike some certain rednecks who live in Texas. They like to dance on top of bars.
largest candy store, the world's largest candy store you can find. It's right here in Cleveland. There's the address up here for those of you who are local. If you're coming into town, you got to check out Sweeties. You got to check out the ice cream, and you got to check out the putt-putt. They have different levels, too, on the putt-putt. So you could do an easy level for the family. If you're a skilled putt-putt golfer like myself, then you can go on the expert level of the 18 holes.
We say like, oh, it's a candy place, but like there's so much more to what they do there and the connections they have with the community. They've been ingrained in here for decades. I mean, it's an awesome place to go. It's an awesome place to take your kids, whether it's during the week, now it's summertime, on the weekends, whatever it is. Even yourself, you got a sweet tooth, or maybe you're like, I had candy when I was younger that I kind of wonder if it's still around. There's probably a pretty good chance they've got it. I mean, because again, the the stuff they have at BA Sweeties is insane.
Hey, even if you need dessert like during lunch, you got a sweet tooth during your lunch break or whatever.
It's convenient too, in between Ridge and Pearl over on Brook Park Road near Parma Cleveland border. I mean, yeah, you got an hour. It's like let's go over and check it out. Like, you'd be surprised, and a lot of people go back just because honestly, the great people that work there too. We had an experience too with some of the folks over there. One of the ladies actually helped us find where we were supposed to go.
Yeah.
So she was working across the store.
Yeah.
And helped us find Tom. And I forget her name and I feel bad, but she was so nice. She stopped what she was doing.
She was, yeah.
And she helped us find where we needed to go. Didn't have to do that. She could have told us to go up front and ask somebody, whatever it is. She took time out of her day. I always appreciate people and workers that do that kind of thing. And that's what you get with them overall, too. That genuine, just like, hey, we care about you. We're happy you're here. What do you need? We're here to help. I mean, it's across the board at BA Sweetie, and it's one of those spots. If you haven't been there, you got to check it out.
Yeah, if you have been there,
you know.
You already know. Go back.
Go back there.
Go back, have a good time. BA Sweetie Candy Company, right here in Cleveland. All right.
Oh, that was cool. Whoa.
We got to do a Fix It series, our next installment.
So that's gonna.
And you might have to lead this one because I honestly am very emotionless when it comes to carrying cross in the Final Testament. I have all the passion you saw with me with Otis. None of that's there with the Final Testament, and they have all the tools.
They do.
They have all the tools, and it's not clicking.
So this will be now next Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some scheduling things, but we obviously want to let you guys know we haven't forgot about it. We're doing it again. That will be coming up next Saturday. I believe the 22nd is that date of June. We'll record and obviously drop the same day. So have fun with that, buddy.
We better record because I'm supposed to go to a Guardians game
Oh,
that
it's-
afternoon. Shaq's performing.
We're trying to keep Shaq's right. We're
Yeah, Shaq's performing on the 22nd.
My
He's doing a post game.
well, it's a Saturday, so it's later in the evening, so we're good.
It's a 4:00 first pitch.
That's bad. It's gonna be light out when he's DJing. Nevertheless, it's fine. So again, trying to keep those more towards a half hour to give you guys a little more longer content, but not too much. This will be pretty self-explanatory, and again, Double A is gonna let me lead it. But obviously, first episode, go check it out on YouTube. We actually have our videos split up, so you can actually go into different playlists like most channels do, and you can actually see the first episode, which was We Fix AEW. Now it's an opportunity to kind of get a crack at our first WWE talent and see with Karrion Kross and his group if there's a way we can make them a little better.
If you just look at them and you knew nothing about professional wrestling, looking at them right now, you wouldn't think there was a single issue.
No,
Like, just looking at them. But
there's a lot more when it comes to especially Karrion Kross. There's a lot
honestly,
more for them.
this is a case of we've given you everything, but why is it not clicking?
And I'm going to have an answer for that next Saturday.
That's it.
Oh, it's the end of the thing. It says it on top.
Yeah, that's it. We're done. Just like that. Fade to black.
So were you surprised?
I was surprised I didn't put the other slide back in at the end.
Oh, yeah. Now it's just a black background.
Yeah, we'll just leave it like
we
that.
look
We're
crazy.
done. You already know. It was a virus thing a couple weeks ago that popped up. That popped up there. All right, so that was a very lighthearted show.
Yeah, it was great. I feel good. See what is good? We had to get it all out of our system because on next week we get to be professional. You have to start dressing better. Like, we have to do a full thing. So
All right. We are done for this week. I don't even know if we could do the old outro anymore.
We
'cause
can't.
We really can't.
because this is becoming something a lot more than we thought we ever envisioned, really.
That is true. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Reaction to the pay-per-view, premium live event, Billy Ray. Well, I'm with you. I still call it pay-per-views. They're pay-per-views. Okay. Don't let Swerve bully you like that. We'll have reaction to the pay-per-view. And whatever other top stories.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about Chad Gable burying Otis next week. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Aloha and Mother Fathers. It works at the end, too, because aloha is aloha and goodbye.
That is true.
Or is it mahalo? I don't know. Either way, in the Rock's native tongue, we'll see you guys next week.
Take us off the air. We're done. See you next week.
Bye, bye, little Sebastian.